Good situation analysis is the foundation of good real sales planning, and excellent sales managers spend quite a bit of time making sure that they analyse the situation, and in particular that they've got an honest appraisal of exactly where the team is now. In this lesson we'll just overview some thoughts about situation analysis, and I'll do this by using a very simplified mind mapping type technique, because I often find that is the best way to start thinking about what I want to include in any situation analysis. Obviously, please disregard my handwriting. At least you're getting an authentic glimpse of how I actually prepare things. So, good sales managers tend to look at the situation analysis from a number of different perspectives. These perspectives should shine a light on the overall business and the sales team. I recommend that you list out all the perspectives that are relevant for you in your situation, but which might include some of the following. Almost certainly you'll include some kind of commentary on market conditions, and there's lots of things that you would put in here. Remember, this is not War and Peace. If you have reports from market watchers, that's great. They should go in an appendix. What we're looking at here are what are the key things that you will need to take into account as you build your business plan. There's lots of perspectives you could use. For example, you might want to analyse the geography and what's going on, what's happening in verticals, by customer type, by solution. Particularly if you're running a country or a region which has some kind of independence, you may want to take a wider socio-economic view. There's a really nice tool that a lot of people use called a PESTLE analysis: political, economic, social, technical, legal and environmental. And I've included a paper on PESTLE in the further resources section. One thing you almost certainly want to look at is past performance. You know, there's an old saying that the best predictor of future performance is past performance, and the more recent the past, the better. And while you won't want to rely on it too much, examining past performance can be really helpful, particularly for a sales manager. Just considering performance of the team against target, against long-term forecasts, short-term forecasts, benchmarking against other parts of the business, looking at seasonality, average deal size, length of deals, velocity of deals, etc. can be instructive. And something that somebody else, probably maybe sales ops or finance, should be able to provide for you. People are going to be, a key consideration for you in your sales plan. In fact, for some sales managers, how you manage people is really the heart of the whole plan itself. So you'll want to look at all of the individuals to see how they were evaluated by the previous manager, look at their strengths and weaknesses, maybe use some form of profiling tool. In later modules, we'll look at things like social styles and Belbin. But if you're familiar with these or other tools, you may want to use them at this stage. One other thing that I always look at is exactly how much people have earned in the past, and if you have it, a future commission forecast, as this is going to tell you a lot about their motivation, give you hints about how they're feeling, and if they're going to be tempted to leave. Incidentally, especially when thinking about the people in your team, it's generally a really good idea to seek the perspectives of other people, maybe other managers who'll see them in a very different light. Competition. It may be that you have specific competitive watchers somewhere in the business, and again, we don't want to repeat any of that analysis, although you could point to it. But specifically here for your business, who are the competitors that you are mostly up against, both tactically and strategically as you develop the market? Now, there are lots of other things that you may want to include. For example, value propositions. Again, anything that specifically relevant to you in your market. You might want to think about the support available to you. That could be pre-sales technical support, bid teams. You may also think about how you work alongside any implementation teams or service and support teams. It may be that you want to document exactly how the sales team is organized at the moment. Is it that you just have a bunch of salespeople who are given a territory or a vertical, or do you have a horizontal type of organization splitting out business development from lead nurturing, from closing, from account management to real account directors? Have you implemented a pod type structure where you get a group of 2 or 3 people focused on a particular group of customers, etc.? At this stage, it's just standing back thinking, what have we got? And that will provide the basis, the foundation for what we're going to do in the future. Finally, you're going to try and summarize it all. And the tool that most people find most useful is the SWOT analysis. There's a separate lesson on SWOT if you're not familiar with it, but particularly for sales planning, we find that SWOT is a really nice way of just trying to summarize everything that you've got. So as I say, this is not meant to be exhaustive in any way, but just to think through some of the things that you may want to include in the situational analysis. So a suggested next action for you is to at least decide upon the headings that you want in your sales plan. And we'll build on that as we go through the module. Ideally, you might want to bounce these headings off your coach before you work on the detail, but it would really help if you can at least start pulling the situation analysis together before proceeding with the rest of the module, which is going to look at what are we trying to achieve, our goals and objectives, and how we're going to get there, our strategy and tactics. We hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful in developing your sales management skills. It's one of a series designed to help aspiring, new or developing sales managers. Please subscribe to get access to all of the tutorials in the series and to get news of new ones added. You can also go to www.realsalesmanager.com, where you'll find lots of other activities and resources, as well as guides suggesting the best sequence in which to listen to or watch these tutorials.